Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us C P Mohan, who is from the first batch of IRMA. And he has been in a lot of news recently for all the right and wrong reasons. Let us hear from him what he has to say about the upcoming elections, today's times, and what he wishes for IRMA alumni to work on. Let us welcome C P Mohan from the first batch of IRMA. It's really exciting to be talking to you. I'm getting cold feet. I do not know whether I am capable enough to ask you questions. But this is more about how you actually shaped up into the professional that you are today.
So there are three watersheds like that which enabled me formation of what I am, converting me into a holistic human being, and enabling me professionally. So one is my parents, in terms of their value system. What they gave was fantastic education. The second watershed is my education at Pantnagar. Pantnagar makes you a full individual. It makes kind of gender biased, but in terms of the language as it goes, it makes a man out of you. Then came IRMA. Again, extremely unique. There was no institution where 40-50% of your time you're spending in the field. Yet you are picking up all the modern management, and we were of course the first batch, so they also handled us with a little bit of baby care. So the person, the stealing or the tempering of that person, and the professionalization of that person. So these are the three things which I think has defined me in many ways.
I have a very curious question for you. Since it was the first year of IRMA, nobody probably would know about what is happening at IRMA and what it would actually shape you up into. How did you take that decision? I mean, if I were in your position, I probably wouldn't.
It's pure serendipity. See, I took up a job, got married. And I thought I will do my PG at Pantnagar because Pantnagar had a very ironically a Swami Vivekananda hostel which was meant for married people. So the ICR results were a little delayed that year. So I probably could have gone in the next year. In the meantime, my brother, he came across the IRMA advertisement from somewhere. Gave me, and that is how I actually applied to IRMA. And I got through the aptitude test. I went for an interview. We had all these discussions, group discussion, this, that.
Oh! At that time, all these things used to happen, group discussion and all.
Yeah, all of that.
So you guys are really the chosen one. Now I know why the initial batches are. I mean, we admire them so much for all the initiatives that they've taken, for the work that they've done. As an entrepreneur, I really aspire, I look up to you all, and I want to be like you. I'm curious to know, you've spent a lot of your career working with NABARD or activities related to NABARD. I mean, how did you decide to stick on? Because as on today, if I look at today's generation, 2 years is probably the maximum lifespan that they will have in an organization. So spending your entire professional career in such a domain, how does it feel like, and what made you stick to it?
As soon as I got my undergraduation, my first degree, I got married to look after, which grew. I have 2 kids. I did not want to leave the sector. I did not want to the private sector. I did not want to go to the Gulf region. So I had joined GCMMF. BMVS was my boss at that point in time.
Wow.
And somehow I've been very lucky. I've been able to almost love most of the people with whom I work.
Lucky you.
I went and told BMB, we used to call him. We called him BMB.
Yeah, even we used to call him BMB only.
And by that time we had an atmosphere. He also knew my wife, he was staying nearby. So he said, no, you don't resign, let me see. And so they created a position in Kochi zone. I became a senior sales officer from a senior purchase officer.
Okay.
Sales was not my grade at all. And I could not have done sales. So I hated it. Then NABARD came along. So I told you, I never wanted to leave the sector. So But I wanted security because you see, I didn't have anything to fall back on. So I had to play within the boundaries and the ideology. How do I fit my ideology into my boundary? That was a major decision, and I am surprised today, kind of able to make the decision in those days. But I'm happy.
So Mohan, actually we have one thing in common, and I now know why we click together so well. I also started in GCMMF in chocolates.
Oh, yeah, I missed the opportunity for those stealing those chocolates once.
Yeah, I've eaten lots of chocolates during that time. Mohan, let me come straight to the point. I have seen a lot of seniors who wished that this should be done with the alumni, and these are the initiatives that need to be taken for the alumni. But you are the one who has actually brought together a lot of us for various initiatives and pulled off. I mean, we have something concrete in our hands which needs to be executed now. What was that trigger that actually brought you to take these initiatives and bring it to a conclusion?
There are two parts to this. One is that almost everything, there is the play of God. Barring that, everything that happened in this world has a human element in it and a human effort in it. I remember my computer education days in IRMA when Luthra was the professor.
Yeah.
Then he said, 98% of what you do can be done by the computers, but what that 98% is decided by 2%, which is a human brain. And I would even as you learn computing, you should become that 2%. I would like you to be the 2% and not the computing people. I remember this 40 years later because somewhere it got ingrained in my mind that the human brain is a high potential thing and don't be overawed by computers and technology. What triggered this is honestly COVID. Off and on, whenever some distress happens, I had been contributing, depending on my might at different points in time. Maybe I'm a little more resourceful at this point in time than I was earlier. During this COVID, there was one person I was very, very close to, Neeraj. He was to become an entrepreneur like you. Every month I used to spend hours together with him. He used to talk about a lot of things. And he died. Suddenly, we never expected him to die. All of us know that it is life, it will go away one day. But such a young mind, such a nice and balanced individual, to lose him was a shock to me. And then there were rising funds for him. And at that point in time, I thought something more solid has to be done. And that is how I got into this question about the insurance. That is what triggered me. That is what actually triggered me. I thought that welfare has to have a major role in an affinity group, and together we can actually work much better. We should strive for that. And then I started talking about this to some group. Some people, a group came together. So there had been some attempts earlier which could not succeed. But then times have changed, so new players and new arrangements have come into the market. So we formed a group. There are 14 of us. It's not an individual thing. Everything is transparent. There's a WhatsApp group exclusively for that. We have VC meetings. We share everything. So it is a very transparent thing. There are 14 of us from diverse people. Some from the insurance sector, senior people, junior people, everybody. By the time the XLRI had come out with group affinity insurance program for its alumni, and I got the contacts with this aggregator. This is a new player which has come into the market, which actually smoothens out many of the issues that comes into receiving payments, giving payments, following up with the insured, licensing with the TPA or the hospital, licensing with the insurance company. So this is a new game changer which has come in, and that is what XLRI leveraged to get their alumni insurance in position. So suddenly you see the market has given us the solutions for all the problems which the earlier people were facing. And today, for the history of IRMA, 1,000 IRMAns have responded to a survey. So they will contact them through emails, whatever means, for a small fee. They'll follow up, they will collect a premium, they will aggregate this into an escrow account whose beneficiary will be only the insurance company. Otherwise, it will get refunded into that individual pays. So most of the kind of things taken care of. And then we thought that we should also get in any such arrangement in between the IAA and the insurer, and we should work around that. And we have almost got a solution. We have been working on this for last several months. In the meantime, IIT Madras started and finished. They have already closed, but we didn't have an IAA to sign off the contracts. If any IAA comes, irrespective of whoever it is, if only they would be kind enough to take this initiative forward and do whatever, transparent bidding processes, whatever is required, we can have it rolling in another year, another month, whenever, not much time will go. I am sure if everything goes well by the 1st of January, we were hoping that if the IAA had continued, we would have had a body and we could have talked to them, and we thought we could launch it on the 2nd of October. Anyway, life is like that. So everything doesn't happen to your will. We wait. It will happen. None of us have absolutely any problem with the IAA Executive Committee, because, see, it's not individual. It is an elected body, the representative of the people, and we work with their representative. We're very clear on all those things. So that is what triggered. And I also found when people were saying that this constitution is 1 year, the IAA EC had overstayed, etc. But you can also look at it from another angle and say why it happens. Where are the infirmities? Through this insurance thing, after Neeraj's unfortunate, extremely painful demise for me, I started taking interest. Otherwise, I had not been taking much interest. And I pulled out the IAA constitution, started reading it, and then I understood there are too many infirmities in it, and the boundaries were too narrow to work around so many things. And so I volunteered to redraft the constitution, and it is not done by me alone. There are 12 people working with me. You were one of them. I think it's a good document which has come out.
Absolutely, no doubt about this. In fact, Mohan, this really clarifies some of the doubts which people have been having as to why you were primarily taking so much interest, and the fact that you said that the human element is so important. I exactly remember the day when we heard about Neeraj's demise, and it sent shivers down my spine, because that same day my husband was detected with COVID. I absolutely understand the concern that would have come to you as far as somebody with whom you have worked so closely. That clarifies. Mohan, thank you so much for taking this initiative, bringing this to us. And sometimes we don't realize. So it's important you spelled it out, because once we hear it from the horse's mouth as to why it was taken up and why it was important. I remember 2 years back when we were contesting for the IAA and the elections and everything started off, many of us discussed that this insurance initiative is extremely important, but then we also knew that we didn't know how to take it forward, because there were certain issues in it at that point in time when we said that there is no way to take it forward. And I'm so happy to know about this, that now we have ways and we'll be able to sort it out, because after all, when funds are needed, it doesn't give a very nice feeling. For alumni of premier institute like IRMA, we definitely needed this. So then all this is okay, Mohan, the nature of the initiative that you've taken, the reason why you've taken, why on earth this race for the IAA election and presidentship? Why do you think it is important?
Well, this was not in my mind at all. I was not in the fray. I had not been thinking about taking up an IAA position at all. And apart from that, I have been interacting with a large number of young IRMAns, created a platform where 250 odd persons were on this WhatsApp group interacting. So it was not necessary for me. And I had not thought about it. I am very keen that this insurance program scheme should take off. And I thought that it is only in the fitness of things that a committee that will see it in the right spirit will come in. Even before that, my batch, before these election notifications came, many of them told me to contest the elections. I told them, I am part of a Bombay group. We call it the Jalebi group. It is pure entertainment group. Every time there is a cricket match, we watch it together, virtual together, right from the US to the UK to somebody in the Gulf to India, Bombay, Kochi, all of this. Very enjoyable. They again told me, Mohan, you have to become, because otherwise the insurance may not take it. because the suffering that IRMAns are going through because of, and currently many of us are supporting another unfortunate person, one Bhaskar Panugutti, the son of a daily wage earner, an IRMAN. The father is in coma and many of us have been working for him. Again, absolutely no insurance, either for him or his family. So we thought this is primary. This has to happen, and it has to happen in our lifetime. And COVID does not give us any great extension of that. At that point in time, the possibility that this insurance scheme might come into job party was something which really moved me. And I must tell you that actually settled the ethical dilemma that I had. I asked my conscience, and my conscience is clear. Whether my ethical, my hard stop on this ethical question should prevail, or my understanding of the welfare requirement should prevail. And the latter prevailed in my mind, and that is why I am here.
I understand. I appreciate what you're saying. In fact, this reminds me when at IRMA, we were being told the story of how Tribhuvandas Patel, when he was approached and he was asked to become the head of the organization, he refused. And then Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel told him that you are the right candidate because you are not interested in becoming one. And I feel that the history is getting repeated since you are not interested. But then we want you there because we want some of the initiatives to be taken to conclusion. But tell me, apart from this, is there anything else that would be on your agenda when we look at the IAA and the tenure that you have that we can work on together as a fraternity?
Absolutely. Let me tell you, some people have also posted questions to me and what do you stand for? Let me tell you a couple of things. Within the institutional system of an academic, the IAA has got a certain role to play in that institutional system. The Alumni Association is supposed to facilitate a certain goodwill between the institute from which you have passed out, but which you continue to relish and which you continue to gain from because of its reputation. And IRMA gains its stature and reputation from what the alumni does. So it is actually a virtuous cycle of reinforced reputation of both these pillars. Both the pillars gets hardened, thickened, stronger through this relationship, and that is the organizational arrangement of the academic institutional system. And this is what we should understand. That is what I stand for. So therefore, that is my purpose. The IAA for me is not the management of it. Certainly not. So we have to do what an IAA constitution enshrines in it, and that is goodwill among people, good relation with the institution, do good for the welfare of the IRMAns, and most importantly, I would say, create a conducive environment for the growth and development of young IRMAns, because the older ones are the ones who have established certain things. Now it is our duty to ensure that they come in, they grow, they develop, so that there is a seamless stream of IRMAns walking along through the annals of time without any stop, So that is what we should be looking for. And once you achieve that, everything will fall in place. I remember Gavaskar was asked, how do you become a good batsman? And he said, do the basics well. You do the basics right, and the rest will follow. So that is one thing. And I was also asked, what are the things which you will do separately, which will you differently? I find the analogy which I would like to place here is this. Let us take a ship. Within the large society, there is an IRMA community, alumni community of IRMAns. And let us say that this is a ship which has now set sail to reach a particular destination. And all of us are confined within this particular ship, a virtual ship. What do? You cooperate, you negotiate, you work together, you live together, you try to have common understandings, you find baselines, and you work. Now suppose in between the captain of this ship changes. What do? The captain will take it another way. He will forget the destination. Will you allow that if you were in a train and the train driver changes? Will you allow the train driver to take the train to another destination? You will not do that. So why should you do that with an alumni association? Why do you even desire to do that with an alumni association? I think We should not. That is my humble request to whoever becomes the EC of this association. We are in one ship, and now suppose I say that I will do certain things, and this is my agenda, rigid and hard stop agenda, hardwired. All of you come. There are 8 other people. They all come with hardwired agenda. What will you do? We will have 9 different agenda for the IIA. Not possible. So what we should do is we should come to a common minimum program. We should keep what is enshrined in the constitution as non-negotiable. We should sit together, come to a common minimum program as to which of the agendas overlap, which of the agenda can come together, which we can do. Then we have the time resource, we have the material resource, we have the effort resource. How much of it we can do, we should do it well. So my point is, let us start and finish something during the 1 year which NIA EC has. And I'm positive that given the human accomplishment potential, we will do something, I'm sure.
Wow, Mohan, you have actually made me forget all the rest of the questions that I had. I already spellbound and so inspired to work under your team as you as the umbrella of the entire community. I'm really hopeful that we have so much to achieve. But tell me, this thing is there that the EC comprises of other individuals as well. So it is not only the president, there are other people with whom you will be working together. Do you have an ideal team in mind that you would want to put together so that you can actually achieve what you want to?
How many of us work so well together in the family? Particularly when people like me who have grown, who are elder, and then you have a middle-aged son and a teenage grandson. Does it happen? It doesn't happen. There is nothing ideal. That is one thing. Now, going beyond that and taking the family analogy, this alumni is a fraternity. It is an affinity fraternity. Unlike the larger society, there is already common points where we fit in. We have ideological commonalities. We have educational commonalities. We have workspace, or at least the sector is in which we by and large focus on. We have commonalities, and the philosophy of IRMA is a commonality which binds us together within this virtual ship of alumni framework. I don't think there should be any problem in working with anybody. I really do not have. I personally think that I can work with anybody, and I am willing to be as pliable, as flexible as possible for anybody to work with me. It is their comfort also that matters. I think that is a main role which any leader should play. He should or she should provide an environment of comfort for people. If I hire Einstein and I say Einstein is not performing, I don't think it is because of Einstein's DNA has changed. It's probably my DNA is not right.
This is nice, but have you put together a team as far as EC that you would want to work with? Do you have a team?
No, I don't. If everybody who get nominated is an IRMA, it will be a wonderful team. No doubt. Brilliant. I have no doubt. I have come across hundreds of IRMAs, and I have not come across one who will not fit into a role where they want to work for the community of the organization. I really mean it, what I'm saying. I work with these 14 people. I worked in the Constitution Committee, which ranges from first batch to 40 years back. I worked in small groups on so many other initiatives, including Neeraj's initiative. I worked with another.
So what is your call for action to us? What do you want us to do? Tell us in one, do you have that punchline?
I think we should work towards a functional committee. We should work towards people who would bring harmony, people who would encourage participation, people who would have the mind of inclusion as a central theme of their working in affinity groups. We should not even by mistake exclude anybody, including the families who have lost their breadwinner. We should include all of them. We should include the entire IRMA system in the, for example, welfare activities. We should bring the staff of IRMA, the cafeteria staff of IRMA into welfare schemes. Anybody who has that mindset should take these positions and continue over time, continue with these, at least some basic main things. So therefore, where does it lead? What it means is a tagline for whatever I talk to you today. It is stronger together.
Brilliant. Mohan, really appreciate all the thoughts that you have shared with us today. And it really brings me to think that if you think you can, you will. And if you think you can't, you're right. And I think we all together as a community are thinking that we can and we will together. and we will definitely be stronger together. Thank you, Mohan. Thank you for sparing time, and this has been a lovely chat with you. I would love to have another chat with you sometime else, learning much more of your life lessons. But this was a separate discussion that we had to have. Thank you once again, and best wishes. We really look forward to working with you to make alumni stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you so much.